Hey FGN viewers, we're here today for our Hey Listen Podcast Episode 5. My name is Paolo Chingocha.
Kevin Shepard.
Sebastian G.
Doug Rubio.
And so we're going to go in today and talk about a couple topics that we feel, are somewhat, worth talking about. I did do that quick thing to try and, condense things.
Topics. So yeah, just to note, today's podcast will be shorter than all the other ones. Just trying something new. But first topic we got today is Xbox is looking to focus more on third-party games.
So when I read that, how they said that Tomb Raider was going to be exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
And they, that was awesome and all fun and stuff, but they said that going forward, they want to stay away from those type of deals and focus more on the companies that they own or the developers that they're partnered with. They're going to release a new Halo game. Another game that they said that was Gears of War is going to come out.
Yeah.
So things like that. So it just makes me think maybe they're just trying to take a shot at PlayStation because PlayStation's always coming out with the third-party games.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think about that?
Well, they say they're not going to focus on first party so much anymore.
No, the opposite.
Yeah, so they're
lately they've been out, going out and getting the third-party developed games, but now they said that they're just going to focus on the games that they are involved with developing. So like Microsoft Studios or whatever.
That's confusing because doesn't that mean first party games?
Yeah.
So they're focusing more on first party games and less on third party games.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. All right. It makes sense, especially for Microsoft because you're no Nintendo, but they've got like established franchises that personally I'm tired of. People seem to be super excited about a new Gears of War. They seem to be super excited about a new Halo, another Forza Motorsport. And it's a lot more profitable, I think, to put money into a company that you have or a publisher that you have control over and property that you have control over, rather than trying to pay probably a ridiculous amount of money to a company like Square Enix, you know what I mean, or something like that, in order to get them to sort of pledge exclusivity, because then you can also be outbid, and then you have this whole thing where, okay, we'll take that amount of money, but it'll be a timed exclusive.
So like Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
So they're going to release it now in November.
Yeah.
But then once January comes around, all the other consoles are going to
kind of a hollow victory, and it just, I think, makes more sense from a business perspective, especially because they do have a small but decent fan following. And when I say small, I don't mean the fan following small. I mean the number of games, the number of series that they have. Right? They don't have. It's not again like Nintendo, where there's a Mario Brothers, there's a Mario Kart, there's a Mario everything in every sport that you can think of, and then there's Donkey Kong, Metroid. It goes on and on and on. They've got Halo, they've got Gears of War, they've got Forza Motorsport.
Yeah.
Forza, probably a couple other things, some stuff that people don't care too much about, but yeah, so it makes sense.
And before we get on to the next topic, something just popped up. I guess this is really recent. Street Fighter 5 just announced Vega.
Okay, cool. Is there a trailer for it?
Doesn't say. I just saw the smile on his face. Yeah.
that should be every two.
I am. Vega's my favorite Street Fighter character.
I'm excited for any Street Fighter 5. We were talking, I think during our first podcast, maybe it wasn't recorded, but we were talking about who we wanted to see in Street Fighter 5. And now that I see that they're retooling and redesigning everyone, I really don't care.
Yeah.
You can bring back anybody, they'll be fresh. I used to just not want to have 5 Ryu clones.
Yeah.
We already had Ryu and Ken, and then there was Akuma, and then you had Evil Ryu, Oni Ryu, Shin Akuma, And now that everybody is so different from each other, I'm
psyched for Vega,
Okay. When you say retooling, are they going to be completely different?
have you seen the trailer for Ken? He's drastically different. It's mostly kicks. He looks more like Kim Tap-On. He fights more like Kim Tap-On from King of Fighters, and so they're really changing it up.
But you can't really change it too much.
And he's wearing a new outfit, right? What's his new uniform? I can't remember. He's got a new uniform, and he's not doing the standard. Oh, I got it. It's still the red gi, but he's got the gi top down. That's what it is. So he's got the top down around his waist, and he's wearing like Under Armour. You know what I mean? He's got a new hairstyle. I think he might have a top knot or something like that.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So you know, it's whoever they put in. I'm excited. We'll have to watch the trailer and discuss it. You know.
Here we go, trailer for
Oh, okay. Oh, we're watching it now
for
live.
Yeah.
Space. Just was
Yeah.
bigger.
Yeah.
You see it?
Not quite.
Okay. That's right. We'll check it out later.
Okay.
What else do we got going on?
So next, Konami. So they are slowly releasing the reasons why the split happened. And now employees too, or former employees, they're just saying that the workplace there was horrible. They were treating their employees horribly. And they said that the main, where Kojima and Konami started falling out was when they decided to delay Metal Gear 5.
Who? Konami was.
Kojima.
Oh, Kojima wanted to delay
He
it
was the one who wanted to delay
to
it.
make improvements.
Yeah.
Right, and Konami, pretty much told them, we just injected all this money. So what was it, like 80 million or something like that? Or something like that. And they said, we just injected all this money and you're still delaying the game. And that's when everything just started going slowly downhill.
When you said we were going to be talking about Konami, I asked you, I was like, do the reasons sound like BS, right? Like the reasons they split. But this sounds legitimate.
Yeah.
Usually if ground level employees are talking about horrible work.
Like they're saying it, and then they tried asking Kojima, and Kojima was just professional about it and said, well, we have our reasons, just leave it at that. I'm already moving on. There's no point in.
Yeah. I'll say this. Kojima's kind of a perfectionist. Probably, I wouldn't be surprised if he's a little obsessive compulsive. I mean, how can you not be when you make such amazing video games? So I imagine that I remember seeing him. Okay, so I remember seeing an interview shortly after Grand Theft Auto 5 came out. That was the last one that came out, right? Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
So Grand Theft Auto 5 came out, and it was both like current and next gen and on PC. And I remember Kojima in the interview saying, I can't believe this game looks this good this early into the next generation. And I already feel like it looks better than the open world that I have in Metal Gear. So I wouldn't, and that's the way he thinks too. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was like, I need to make improvements. I need to, my product needs to look better. And maybe it's just him being sort of over kind of anal about, his game being perfect, or maybe the game will come out and we'll find there's a bunch of holes in it, and we're going to have a big, like, Batman fiasco, you know what I mean? I hope that's not the case.
And if that happens, I just think it'd be Konami to blame.
I think so too. Absolutely 100%. I mean, his name's not on the game anymore. How you going to blame a man? His name's not on the game. You took it off the game.
Because Konami doesn't really, invest too much in the video game department anymore. Because in Japan, they're into other stuff.
Yeah.
They own like gyms and like.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Wow, Konami gym.
Yeah.
Spa.
Yeah,
work out here the game.
Over here, we still them as
a video game company.
And very reputable. It used to be reputable when they made a lot of classics.
So I mean, over there,
Over
why
there,
they're not too focused on their video game
That's probably
division.
why they treat them that well.
I did not know that. There is a Japanese businessman right now in Japan arguing with a member of guest services at one of their facilities. There's not enough towels in the bathroom.
It sounds like something really bad went down too. Kojima doesn't just up and leave like that. Like something really bad.
Not somebody like him, no, of course not.
Well, because I feel like it's been going on longer than it has. I think even before Metal Gear 5. Just because they really, like, I saw the little video where it was one of the prior games, and there was like a little side quest. And I think I mentioned in one of the other podcasts where it's like a bonus, like hidden, like mission where you go into like this open space and you have to like flash your flashlight on like logos from different different games, and then it's all signifying like that they're not gonna be in the game anymore. And at the end,
they would vanish.
Yeah, after you did it, and that was a mission like, find the next logo, make it vanish.
It was essentially erasing everything Kojima.
Yeah, I never got that double meaning.
And then at the end, there was like a little voice, like a little like Asian American voice that just said, "Well, even though you are, gone from us, your memory will forever live on." Okay. And then they're saying it's Kojima's way of like letting the fans know I'm leaving. And apparently Konami didn't know about that little side mission, but obviously if they knew,
to them it's just Get the damn game done.
Right. And they never saw that.
Get it done. We don't care what vintage, just get it done.
Somebody will give Hideo Kojima money, and he'll make some other awesome game with his own studio.
He's really talking to Guillermo del Toro.
Oh yeah, right.
I mean,
yeah.
He's gonna be around for it.
Okay.
It's not like he's gonna get the window
Yeah,
seat.
no, I mean it's crappy what's going on over there.
Kojima will never get the window seat.
But
the dreaded window.
If any Japanese developer like that wants to come to the U.S., they'll never get the window seat. You know, the whole video game market in Japan is slowly falling to pieces. So you know, it just really depends on whether you want to embrace where it's doing well, and it's doing well in the West. You know, I still say Square Enix is like the #1 example. They IDOS went under. Is that right?
Yeah.
Was it IDOS that went under, or the THQ owned IDOS? Who had all those properties? They bought IDOS.
Yeah.
So they bought IDOS. They jumped on it. They jumped on it, and they got Tomb Raider, released a mega hit. They got Hitman, that was a success. Thief, not so much, but it turned. I heard it was a decent game.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I played the demo for it. It was pretty good.
Deus Ex turned out to be a masterpiece. That game turned out to be perfect.
The new remastered thing.
So
I haven't gotten
they got
on
half a dozen. They reached in and bought a company that nobody seemed to care about, and got half a dozen AAA titles. You know what I mean?
So they announced, and I'm kind of envious just because me being an Xbox One owner, PlayStation decided that owners can go and vote for the next games that they can get with the free PS Plus games.
Oh,
So every month they release like those 2 games. Now you can go on their website and vote. Oh, and then like the top, I think it's going to be like level, so it's like they give you like 10 titles. The top 5 go on to the next round. The bottom 5 get released, and they vote again and vote again, and then the top 2 make the cut.
I'm concerned that like the first 9 of the first 10 will be Lego games.
Right, or something.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like Lego games, and then one Crash Bandicoot that nobody ever even knew was released.
And then Crash Bandicoot ends up being the
and
one.
then Crash Bandicoot ends up being the one. And then the next month they give you number 2, whatever was the Lego game that came second place. But it could work if they have, right?
Yeah, I mean, when it first came out, PlayStation Plus was awesome. Like every 2 weeks they would have like some new games to download completely free. And they were like really good, actual like $50 games. And then eventually, now they got to the point where every month there's free games. It's only like 4 of them, and they're usually just like $15 downloadable. Like occasionally you'll get something good. So I mean, it is cool that they're kind of revamping it, but I mean, it just depends on the selection of games that they offer.
I just hope that Xbox One gets on that, just because every month I look at their games and it's either games I've never heard of, or it's games that I never bothered playing. And I just don't got, it wasn't until this month that they announced Metal Gear Solid Ground Zero.
I think the last game I actually downloaded free off the Xbox was Bioshock Infinite.
I mean, 360 and Xbox One released different.
Yeah, they released different ones. The last one that I got was a couple months ago.
The last one I downloaded was like a free pool game, just because I never played it. I downloaded it and I just deleted it. 2 weeks later, I'm like, why is this here? It's taking up hard drive space.
Yeah, I don't know if Xbox jumps on that, because there's not a lot of games I want to download with the free ones. I look at them.
Well, especially now that they're going to do the backwards
The thing I noticed
thing.
with our Xbox though is the games that we get for free, they're not the ones we want. But they'll give the games that we do want at discounted prices. And I'm like, I don't want to spend the money though.
Like it's always like 2 free games, no, and then right next to it, on the Xbox One, it's like this game 15% off. This game.
70
Oh, okay.
Like I was this close to getting Dragon Ball Xenoverse because I saw the 2 games, and I'm just like, no, 30% off.
That's probably they do that probably on purpose.
Dragon Ball Xenoverse is totally
I was either going to get Elder Scrolls or Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball's totally worth
But since I don't know anybody that owns an Xbox One that plays Dragon Ball,
I will
I'm like,
soon.
Elder Scrolls.
You can't cross.
I will soon own an Xbox One.
I fired up my 360 today. It was Metro. Was it 2033?
Oh, I remember
that's
that
such a
game.
good game.
Okay, so I'm satisfied with the 360 was something like that. So Metro 2033 is free.
That is, they have that one, and then they came out with another one. Last night.
Yeah, last night. I was gonna say last night.
No, I played 2033. I never got to the second one. But 2033 is
Metro
pretty
last
decent.
night at the gay bar. Down about 10. I won't elaborate. We're here to talk about games, not my personal life. Yeah, I know. I understand. What you're but the Xbox One doesn't really have a library. Yeah.
Maybe that's why they announced that they're going to start focusing more on their own games.
Okay.
So they can have their own library. Because I miss the days when it was just Xbox and PS2, and Xbox would have their lineup, PS2 would have their lineup, and then they would compete with their own library. Yeah,
I do too.
That stopped.
It was weird when they didn't have exclusivity over the last decade, really, right? When Resident Evil was on everything and Final Fantasy was on everything, I was like, this is great. I don't have to buy 2 consoles anymore. But then it kind of ruined the quality of a lot of the titles that were coming out, and the draw to that console. I feel like the PlayStation, it was the PSX and the Saturn, and they had these distinct personalities. And then it was the PlayStation 2 and the Dreamcast, and they had these distinct personalities. And and then the Xbox with all that distinct personality. The original Xbox. Who here had an original Xbox? You had an original. Yeah. Apollo just raised his hand in case our video
playing Star Wars.
Knights of the Old Republic.
It was so awesome.
And I was just thinking, when you think of Xbox, I immediately go to that was the game that had the killer PC port-over titles for adults. You were tired of being a 12-year-old trying to save the world in emo, you know what I mean? Whatever. And then all of a sudden, the Xbox releases KOTOR, and they release The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, and Halo comes out, and they had all
so they had KOTOR 2.
And KOTOR 2.
Equally as awesome.
Yeah.
They had Dead or Alive exclusive too. Right?
Dead or Alive was exclusive. Team Ninja was exclusive on the Xbox.
Yeah.
Ninja Gaiden was exclusive. Dead or Alive was exclusive. So Shenmue 2 was on there. Jet Set Radio Future was on there. There was a bunch of projects before it was Project Gotham Racing before the Project Gotham Racing. So it had this personality, just as strong as the PlayStation had a personality, because the PlayStation was Tekken, Resident Evil,
everything else.
Yeah, everything. Final Fantasy. It was. I don't know why I was about to say Battle Arena Toshinden. So
you had the 2 different groups of people that were into those personalities, and it just made the gaming world so much more interesting.
Nobody wants to make a group of friends and they're all clones. Nobody wants to make clone friends so they're the same. Because we're gonna hang out with doesn't matter. Who cares? They're not special. You want a group of friends where everybody has their unique personality and brings something different and exciting to the table. And now that we kind of don't have that as much, we do a little. Nintendo's the only one that still has that. But they're not making the games. They're not putting them out. They're making, poor decisions. And, So, all right, I'm sorry. I kept it long off top.
No worries. That was
Yes.
Alright, so moving on, we have PS4 outsells the Xbox One by $26 million.
Congratulations.
Oh, unit.
Congratulations, Doug. You win.
The Xbox has that little glimmer of hope.
I never even attached to it. I never even
Worldwide or
worldwide.
Okay. Man.
Well, you're excited about the premise of them getting even further ahead.
Just like the PS4 is closing in.
Everything.
It's closing in on beating the PS3 for being the all-time most selling console.
That's incredible. I'm sold. I'm gonna buy a PS4 soon. I'm sold. I'll probably get both that and Xbox One, but the PS4 is I'm amazed.
I think I'm gonna do the same, but right now I'm gonna go with the Xbox One first, and then I'll probably jump on PS4.
Well, I mean, it all depends on what ecosystem that you're invested in. I know you're an Xbox gamer for.
Yeah, I've been doing the Xbox for a couple of years now. I don't know. I don't know what it is that really draws me to the Xbox. I don't feel compelled to go back to PlayStation for some reason. Maybe it's just some of the actual exclusive titles I played.
Yeah. They're still gonna have their exclusive titles and stuff. That's never gonna go away. And for me, the PlayStation just appeals more. I mean, I'm not a fanboy. If anything, I'm a Nintendo fanboy, but that's it.
For me, it's always
point at me.
For me, it's always been. I've always been a PC gamer before I went into console. So Microsoft, and then Xbox, Microsoft. I'm used to Microsoft. And you go with Xbox, and then 360, and then Xbox One. I don't know. It's just.
The gateway between the PC and the console.
And now that they're connecting the two with Windows 10, I'm might as well just tattoo an Xbox somewhere.
And it turns out that Xbox date range 31. All right, go console.
hike in their sales as opposed to this time last year. So they've just been increasing, even though we were talking about how maybe they were kind of losing it, they were, kind of going the other way, and no, they reported a 40% increase. Wii U's been selling better than it has in the past. 3DS to Splatoon. So
is this
major hit.
attributed to Splatoon, do you think?
They're saying for the Wii U, Splatoon has been a major catalyst in pushing them back on track.
I don't doubt it, man. It looks good. It looks good.
It looks a lot of fun. I mean, I wish I could play it.
You can.
I just wish I owned it.
Oh. That's one of the saddest things I've ever heard. Yeah, it's so sad. I just wish I could play. I mean, I wish I owned it.
I remember I used to use that line on my parents when we used to go to Best Buy or something. They watched the game.
You did too?
I wish I could play that. And then my dad would be like, no. And I would go tell my mom, Mom, it's so cheap.
My friends have it. I used to have it. My friend has it.
How do you want me to fit in socially?
Yeah.
I'm going to be an outcast if you
My
don't.
parents are like, you can go to their house.
Oh, yeah, I got that a lot too. David lives down the street. You can go there.
I think this is, I mean, first of all, Splatoon is a game that no one's ever heard of, just because it's the first, it's a new invention, this thing. It's a new property, it's a new original property. So, it's something that just, again, Nintendo sort of pulls out of their rear end.
See, I think that's where they need to keep going. They need to go in that direction to keep coming out with more original titles.
But their sales spiked when Mario Kart came out, big time. Huge spike in Mario Kart. So I think it's just games. I think they said just release a good game. People don't care if it's part of the series. People don't care if it's brand new. As long as it's good, they move, what was it, 40 million? Oh, 40%. 40% increase. That's definitely not 40 million. Yeah, 40% increase. So, whatever, Nintendo, make the games, and people are obviously still going to buy them. Don't make them, and, fade into, obscurity.
Right, because there's this other game that was going to come out called Robot Giant.
Yeah,
it was a game that Miyamoto was developing.
Robot Giant?
And he was developing, and he said that it was going to, show the fans the full, extent of what the Wii controller can do. It was supposed to be based off of the gyro, and it looked more Gundam, robot against other robot, but they delayed it, just because, I'm guessing because of the presidency thing.
Oh, that's right.
So we're
still figuring out who's taking over. Yeah.
So, I mean, as long as they release, pretty good games, because I looked at that Robot Giant game, no offense to Nintendo, but that game was
terrible.
Yeah,
my brother was hitting on Splatoon, but I thought Splatoon looked good the moment they showed it off. That was very original.
How much you want to bet it's the Splatoon character making Smash? How much you want to bet? Maybe. I've heard people talking about that. That was
man,
it better not.
How much?
It better not come before Bomberman.
No, it doesn't come Bomberman.
We have no reason. I really think Bomberman should be in it too, but we have no reason to expect that Bomberman would be in it at all. We just discussed Hudson last week, right? Hudson software. Nobody knows Hudson.
It's kind of fell off the face of the earth after the
N64 operating out of a storage lockup.
After the N64 went away, it just kind of disappeared off the radar.
Two decades in Nagoya.
Our next topic I'm super excited about. They're talking about a Resident Evil 2 remake.
Oh yeah.
Someone did that on the Unreal Engine 4, and it just was magical.
We saw it last time, and it was amazing.
It looked good.
Yeah.
It looked good. It looked a little stiff, and I realized that I had seen that project done to the same guy, I think, a couple of years ago.
Okay.
So he kind of revived it and polished it. So it did. It looked amazing. But it's just a matter of games that we know are excellent being given a new skin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's I think my thing about it was that it was translated into the Resident Evil 4 over the camera, over the shoulder.
Yeah. No, some people like that.
Yeah.
I would prefer, for them to keep the original.
So would I. Yeah. And I think that's because the level design is based around the original.
What's it called?
It doesn't have to be tank controls, but the original pre-rendered background.
Yeah,
where you just shift from room to room, and the camera barely ever follows you.
And I mean, and with that, it might keep it like that, because Capcom, I guess, saw the demand for it. And, and the only thing that we know is that they told the fans, you go on their website, comment, and let us know how bad you would want the remake. So they didn't say how they would make it, or if it would be the same as the guy did. But it's.
Well, on Facebook, they made a post, Resident Evil page. They were asking people, what do you guys want to see? How do you guys want this,
I don't know if happy companies are doing
Yeah,
like
and
with
they're
Dragon Ball
really
Xenoverse, they're doing the same thing for their next game.
Yeah, Square Enix
There's
the
a
same thing.
whole survey I just did. It was like, what do you want to see in the next game? What did you like? What did you hate?
Yeah, it's really small in the company reaching out.
It's smart.
They need to do that more, yeah.
But yeah, so if they remake Resident Evil 2 like they did Resident Evil 1, I'm happy.
I play it.
Yeah.
They do it like they did Resident Evil 1 remake.
Yeah.
Yeah. I play it.
I buy it.
Yeah.
You're gonna like this.
Okay.
Rare-
Don't presume what I will or will not like.
Well, pretty much any good news from Sega, I assume that you'll like. And I did say this in the quick bit. Rare Replay. You asked last week if they were going to release more games, or if you could download the individual ones.
Yeah.
So it turns out that they're going to release just the 30 games that's going to be on there. But afterwards, depending on how well the actual bundle sells, which they said that the pre-orders are through the roof, they're thinking about, or most likely they're going to start releasing individual games, or like little packs of if there's like a trilogy of the game or whatever, releasing it as DLC.
I now see Sonic getting a bundle pack being released.
But they've done that quite a few times.
I would say they do it again.
Yeah, they do it often. But yeah, I do too, of course. They never seem to. We're just going to ignore Rare and talk about Sega. Yeah. They never seem to get every good Sonic title on one thing. It's like either missing Sonic CD or missing Sonic 3 or so. Anyway, do me a favor. Can you see if there's a list available for the Rare Replay games? I am curious what's in there. I'm going to guess and say Battletoads. Let's work together here. Battletoads.
That's the thing that was announced at E3, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, Battletoads is
original, probably arcade Battletoads.
I think so.
Probably Conker's Bad Fur Day. Blast Corps.
That's what I'm excited for.
Blast Corps for sure will be in there.
Oh.
I think they said that. And then Perfect Dark.
Is that in there?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Perfect Dark is in there. And then what else? Rock and Roll Racing, is that a Rare game?
Did you say Jet Force Gemini?
Jet Force Gemini, I think it's supposed to be in there.
Killer Instinct.
Killer Instinct 1 will be in there. The first one will be in there.
Banjo-Kazooie.
The first two, right?
Yeah.
The first two are going to be in there.
Okay, so here's the lineup.
Lay it on.
Jetpack.
That's an old arcade game.
Addict?
Yeah.
Addict Attacker? Something?
Yeah, it's a drug addict attacks you.
Really?
Games were much better.
Yeah.
Lunar Jetman. Saber Wolf. Underworld. Night Lore. Gunfight. Slalom? Slalom. The guy just completely butchering the spelling of the
That's okay. That has to do with skiing.
RC Pro-Am, Battletoads, Corporate Triangle, Snake Battle and Roll.
Snake Rattle and Roll.
Okay.
Right, now we're hitting the NES titles.
Digger T-Rock.
Okay, alright, keep going.
Okay. Alright. Solar Jetman, RC Pro-Am 2, Battletoads Arcade, Killer Instinct Gold, Blast Corps.
Gold! Killer Instinct Gold, I didn't expect that.
Banjo-Kazooie, Jet Force Gemini, Perfect Dark, Banjo-Tooie, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Grabbed by the Ghoulies, Perfect Dark Zero, Cameo Elements of Power, Viva Pinata, Jetpack Refuel, Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, and Viva Pinata Trouble in Paradise.
So you did say both Perfect Dark Zero and Perfect Dark.
Yes.
Okay. So I like how they put them in order because the first few are like the old school arcade pre-home console.
No, sorry, with the NES.
Yeah, then you got the NES stuff, then you got 64. I did not hear Rock and Roll Racing, but I don't remember if that's a Rare game or not.
I don't either.
I thought Rock and Roll Racing was a Rare. That's thing. So if they're releasing games like that, there's probably people listening right now, of the 12 people, that are going to be like, you idiot, Rock and Roll Racing was made by Hudson, you just were talking about Hudson.
What system was that?
Rock and Roll Racing was Super Nintendo. You know, one that was made by Rare, now I just really like Rock and Roll Racing.
Is that the one with the
Yeah! Yeah.
Made by Blizzard.
Oh, it was a Blizzard game!
That's the guy watching
Okay, so I'm glad we looked it up. Never mind. So, alright, whatever. Now that I know Rock and Roll Racing is not made by Rare, I've completely lost interest in this topic.
I think they had Black Sabbath in that game.
Yeah, it was just the instrumentals. It's just the instrumental. But yeah, if they release like games, if they do DLC content and it's reasonably priced, and it's not like $5 a game, because if it was $5 a game for all these games, you'd be paying a fortune.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, and as long, I mean, if they do release the packs,
Yeah.
I would understand it being like $5. So if they release like, you know, Sonic will something like Sonic, let's say, and they have like they put all the Sonic games together. Well, it doesn't have to be Sonic because Rare doesn't make Sonic, but like if it's something like that.
Does Rare make Sonic?
The guy watches like, what are you talking about? But I mean,
Why the hell did I mention Sonic?
Because
yeah. But if it's something like that where it's like 5 or 6 games, then I would understand that.
Okay, yeah. I guess we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what happens. I mean, I'm excited for it. I'm just as equally excited if they just didn't do DLC and then just released another compilation with another 20 games.
I mean, but I'm pretty sure if you do the math, they'd probably make more money.
Yeah, probably. But that's what I'm nervous about, is that they'll take advantage of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rare.
Yeah.
So the next one, assuming you're going to be more excited.
Again.
This whole podcast is about me, Sebastian excited. So you can always ask me about Witcher 3. By the way, I brought the little book up for you.
Now I'm excited. I
but,
just tell me I'm going to be excited about that.
But Witcher 3, they announced the last free DLC that they're going to give out. It's called New Game Plus.
Okay.
So after you finish all 150 hours,
Yeah.
because you know there's so many alternate endings.
You can start over again with all of your gear and all your stats.
I wouldn't say
Okay.
I don't think the gear.
Okay, but all your stats.
All the
that makes
stats,
sense.
skill points, levels, everything, start from scratch.
Yeah, I love new games.
But they just said that then the difficulty's going to go up.
Higher. And you probably get better stuff that you unlock.
Right.
Okay.
But just making it like.
Yeah. I love New Game Plus, where they do that in games. I first saw that in Metal Gear years ago. But yeah, that sounds cool. I like that. Because they were saying we're done with DLC, and now they're saying, no, wait, one more thing. New.
Right. And I think that was the biggest one out of all of them.
Okay.
Because they said they're going to release that.
Yeah.
And then right after that, that's when they're going to focus on the 2 big expansion packs.
Okay. Okay.
So pretty much all these gamers that already finished the game, they're like, oh, I'm going to get this DLC, go play the whole game again, play it like 2 more times, and then get the expansion packs.
Gift to the gaming community, The Witcher. Yeah.
So, CD Projekt right again.
No kidding.
Telling all the other game companies, hey,
Shame
well,
on
you're
you.
slap to the face.
I'm actually on my 3rd playthrough of The Witcher 2 because there's like every time I play through there's some whole alternate storyline that I can't experience.
There's always something
I'm
you miss.
committed to following this dude around. You know what I mean? Yeah. So.
See, I kind of got sidetracked with Witcher 3 with Elder Scrolls Online.
Okay.
Just because the storylines in Elder Scrolls is just it's as good as Skyrim was.
Is it really?
Not like the little crappy like side quests that Skyrim had that would look very repetitive, but like the actual like missions where it's like individual stories and stuff.
Okay. Okay. Let's switch out the his thing. Yeah, that's the audience.
Yeah, you know, we'll be like, they actually come in early, so the last thing I do want.
What should they be at 4?
No.
Oh, okay, thanks.
So yeah, I mean it's just awesome that Witcher is doing something like that. Because I can't think of any other game in the past that have done so much for the gamers for free.
Neither can I. Not since the original Xbox and the original inception of Xbox Live. Yeah, do you want to go that way? You have to come all the way. He doesn't want to be in. He'll edit it out, don't worry. Not since the original Xbox was on. The original Xbox Live came out for the original Xbox because back then all DLC was free.
That's right.
Remember that for a long time. So we used to get like Rainbow Six would come out or Halo would come out and there'd be a huge map pack and that would be all entirely free. Or expansion packs. I remember Splinter Cell had like expansions, like long chapters that they would come out.
I remember when I got Splinter Cell for the original Xbox, and they would always come out with something new, and I would just. And I remember my dad would always throw it in my face when they would be like, "New game." And my dad knew about gaming news, and he'd be like, "No, but that one game you're playing, Splinter Cell, I heard that they're releasing a an expansion pack, so you don't need a new game for another couple months.
Okay. Yeah, but nobody, as far as I can remember, has done something this way.
Right.
This is
And it just makes you
This is
wonder
great.
when Cyberpunk.
I'm super excited now.
Based off what they've done with
The Witcher, can you imagine that? Just blast us off
And
to
I
the
looked
future.
at like little screenshots and little like artwork that CD Projekt Red did for Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
That was game.
It was amazing, yeah. I know I keep coming back to this. I'm trying not to bring this up every time. I always compare it to the Elder Scrolls because I'm a diehard fan of that series, and I've got a lot of fan disappointment from where it's developed into. But it reminds me a little bit of Bethesda. It's almost like sort of like they're a bizarro version of Bethesda because Bethesda's got their Elder Scrolls series, which is the high fantasy medieval world, and they've got the Witcher series, which is the high fantasy medieval world. And then Bethesda moved into sort of gun territory and sci-fi territory with Fallout, and now they're moving into the same thing with Cyberpunk.
Yeah, I mean,
interesting to see.
And like and I would be surprised if eventually CD Projekt Red does something online, because I mean, you probably hear me say this in the next couple of episodes. Again, sorry for bashing Elder Scrolls Online, but that game just blew me away. The fact that I paid $40 for it, Elder Scrolls Online.
Oh, really?
I paid $40 for it, so I went in not expecting much.
Yeah.
Because I thought that the game sucked, and that's why they lowered the price. But it was just like a special for play time or whatever. The game was awesome. The storylines are awesome, and I was expecting something like one of those like cheap MMO kind of like.
Sure.
No, it's like it's its own special thing. You can do whatever you want.
Okay.
And I wouldn't say blown away by it, but it was
worth what you paid for it.
Just imagine Skyrim with slightly better graphics, and every mission you do is genuine.
Ah, okay.
Because how you finish the general storyline for Skyrim, you finish the main quest with Dragonborn.
Yeah.
Like everything else that you have to do is just like all like, oh, go here, grab this.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
Elder Scrolls.
Each one's unique, is what you're saying. I see. Okay, right, yeah. And that's one of my complaints about where Skyrim ended up. It was like, go to this dungeon and bring this
Right,
back.
and even with the DLCs that because I ended up rebuying Skyrim after they released the Legendary Edition.
Yeah.
But it did like the Dragonborn storyline, the Vampire one. Even then, I started the Vampire one just because I'm like, oh, I'm a werewolf. Let's see how this goes. It's like Underworld premium, like Underworld.
Yeah.
And I got bored really quick after like the first, like the
yeah.
first. I would say like
Dawn
the
Guard
first third
or something.
Dawn Guard.
Yeah.
First third of that DLC, I'm like, I'm done.
Okay.
They're just telling me, go get this, go grab that, go kill Vampire here.
Well, I like the fact. I think there, even if they don't acknowledge it, there's definitely an influence that the two companies are having on each other.
Oh no, yeah,
So yeah, bring it on, man. More CD Projekt Red, whether it's The Witcher or not, or Cyberpunk or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I can see Cyberpunk eventually turning into something online.
Oh, okay.
Just because it's more, there's more potential with it just being more like sci-fi.
Sure.
And that's something that I feel like we need online just because we have Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
It's like I would like something like guns and like I said with Fallout, when you mentioned that Bethesda might be doing a little trial run between Elder Scrolls Online and Fallout 4.
Yeah.
Where one's testing for the
other.
other.
They
I would love
off
call it like Fallout Armageddon or something.
Okay.
Online, like.
That, I could see that. I could see Fallout going online at some point.
Like I would love
that.
I was thinking about it the other day. I just keep that. But I would love if Fallout came out with a game because all they do is talk about the wasteland like 100 years after the Fallout happened. Why not come out with a game where you're in the present, right after the Fallout, and it shows like how the world went from being normal to like
you come out of your house and then 5 minutes later you die of radiation poison.
Or you survive somehow. Like you get rejected from one of the vaults, and then you're one of the few that survived.
You become mutants.
Maybe you can choose if you want to be a ghoul mutant or whatever.
Okay.
But you just have to like survive in the wasteland where everybody else is happy in the vault.
Okay, so I mean really bad. Like I see what you're saying. Like it's way worse than
the
situation is way
Yeah.
worse. Okay, I got it.
I love that. I think that'd be
intense.
Fallout 5.
Okay.
Or Fallout Online. Hey.
Fallout Online.
That is a calming right?
I'm sure they will.
I'm sure
they will. Little did they know. 12 of their listeners, right? 2 of 12 of their listeners worked from Bethesda.
I'll have a cicada calling me on the way down, and Bethesda on the other side. So the next thing I thought was interesting I don't know how to pronounce that name quite, but
Ouya.
Ouya. That
Ouya.
it was supposed to be like revolutionary Android platform.
Yeah, it's like a cube, like a tiny cube.
Yeah, I
weird
think it was
shape.
a pocket size.
It's like a dreidel without
Yeah, without
a
a
handle,
handle,
and
yes.
it's a little flatter on the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was supposed to be big. It was in that they hyped it up so much.
Yeah, and it fell very short.
Yeah, like they were so in debt when they announced that they were done because they had all these outside parties just investing money into it. They made all these deals for like games and stuff, and they just tanked. And they ended up having to sell the company because of all the money they owed. Like all the money that they owed for the outside parties outweighed the money that they were making.
The Donald Trump method, I got it.
So the game company, well not a game company, but the hardware company, Razer, they're mostly known for like the gaming PC keyboard and mouse, and they bought it. And they said that they're gonna pay off all that debt.
Okay.
And then they're gonna invest heavily into it, and they're gonna focus all their efforts into the Chinese market.
That's really smart of them to do because if the Chinese market just
open
that ban
and they said that the Chinese market lacks in the Android, like the Android
As
platform.
incredibly intelligent, I think.
Yeah, they see this opening where it's essentially unexplored territory. They're realizing, well, let's go.
Especially that you're going to see, PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo all fighting, trying to.
Ouya may become China's console. They may expand on it. It won't just be this little cube.
Right,
They may end up expanding.
And it's about what you can afford in China.
Yeah.
And people are going to be able to afford an Ouya, and they're going to be able to provide an Ouya for an affordable Chinese price compared to Xbox One or PlayStation 4.
And if you think about it, whether it's the case or not, Chinese have just been, they're not used to the whole, next gen and all this. So maybe Ouya is going to come in with, Android-looking games, and they might relate more to it because it's going to look and feel more to the games that they're used to.
Yeah,
all these years.
ground.
Right.
Yeah, very smart. Well, I look forward to seeing. I'm curious to see how that's going to turn out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in other game console news, Nvidia came out with like a gaming tablet-looking thing.
Okay.
I just thought it was
Play PC games probably.
Yeah, something
like
like
a
that.
super
They
high-end gaming
recalled
tablet.
all the units just because it turned out it was a fire hazard.
Oh.
Because it was overheating.
That makes sense. Yeah, because I was going to say, wow, that's impressive technology.
And I wasn't even going to bring it up here in the podcast.
Yeah.
But the fact that I was watching the news the other day, because I always turn on the TV in the morning just before going to work, see if it was going to rain, because I work outdoors. And they brought it up. They're like, oh, Nvidia gaming company just recalled all their units, or they're offering to replace it with new ones or whatever.
I mean, test the thing. Test it.
It's
Test the thing.
another Arkham Knight.
Or it's another red ring from.
We know it catches fire, but we're going to give it out anyway.
You deserve that kind of failure if you're not going to, you know what I mean? Because you're so hungry to get something out the
And the thing looked fine. It was like a little tablet like this.
They essentially said, we know it catches fire, but
and it was a real controller and like a little, keyboard like this with it. So it looked pretty interesting. It's like a little portable thing. So I just thought, I don't know, another failure in the gaming world.
It's expected.
Razer made what is it called? They made sort of a mobile thing, like kind of a mobile thing with a controller with a screen attached to it, right? Like a year ago.
What are you talking about?
I don't think it was. I think it was just a controller with like an adapter that you could just stick your phone on there.
Oh, okay.
So like if you have a game on your phone, that's like
No, but I thought it streamed straight from the PC.
Oh,
Doesn't it? I thought they had one that streamed straight from the PC. Yeah, I don't know. That's okay.
Because and then I also read, now you mentioned with all those games, they're adding all the lineup that console is.
The Ouya.
The Ouya. Yeah. They're adding them. They're going to keep all the games that the Ouya already developed.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah.
And then they're just gonna add on to them.
Okay, makes sense.
So I'm excited to talk about our next topic.
They announced the first two games for the Nintendo NX.
Oh.
Dragon Quest.
Oh.
10 and 11.
Oh, those are the two games. Dragon Quest 10 and 11.
Yeah, those are the two games.
So essentially, Square Enix pledged, we'll make our next two Dragon Quest games exclusive.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll make them exclusively. And they're like, oh my god, we gotta announce this. We've got two games. Okay. So they may not be the first two games that come out, but they're two games that will be.
This is at least the first two that were announced.
Okay.
And see what I'm excited about that is I was reading an article the other day, and I actually posted a small little article on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
A lot of credible sources are saying that the NX might be revisiting the Virtual Boy route and going VR. And the articles I read went on to say, Nintendo hasn't touched base with this type of technology since their failure of the Virtual Boy.
So we're talking about when VR technology, we're talking about them possibly jumping on board with what everybody's doing right now.
Yeah.
With this big VR arms race, right?
Yeah. It might actually be, but from what it sounds, they're actually going to try and implement something as opposed to just
into the console,
as opposed to just let's just work on
there's
it.
a lot of sources that I read at least 4 or 5 different articles that were pointing to they're going down that route with the NX.
So I just have to say, so you mentioning that there's a happy what's that guy's name that made the
Oh yeah, that's right.
there's a happy
in
purgatory right now.
He's backing up as we speak. I'm finally leaving the window seat. My time is finally
May
come.
rest in peace.
Yeah.
I think I'm saying his name right. Is it Gunpei Yokoi? Something like that?
I think that's what you said, yeah.
Something like that. Which I always remember that the Game Boy sounds very similar to his name. Because because the end of his last name is Oi. Yeah, the first part is like Gomp or Gomp or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
He did it on purpose.
He might have. He's
He's
very
just
clever.
very happy, just literally, I told you so. I was right.
I'll see it when I believe it. I'll see NX VR I'll see it when I believe it. I'll believe it when I see it.
I think the term I saw was they're going to do
I'll believe it when I see it.
augmented, I think it's like AR,
augmented
VR.
reality.
That's what it said. It said AR and slash
It's hard to know
VR.
what that means
Yeah.
because does it mean like, okay, so it's going to be like the Wii U's gamepad, but now there's a 3D slider on it?
Because that's what it was. VR is just something
like
you
the
see,
3DS.
but AR is something that's
reality. Is it going to be a VR headset? Is it going to be AR like the HoloLens? Or there was another thing that Microsoft was pushing for a while for gaming that they seem to have abandoned completely. It was called the Illuma Room. It was illumination in rooms. It was like a Illuma Room.
Oh, I saw it.
Remember that?
So
Yeah.
It was like
a projector.
There's a big projector on the screen.
Yeah.
And then like if you're in a world and it's like snowing or
It
raining,
would project the snow into your living room. Yeah.
I was excited about
Yeah, so you start so literally you would watch the screen and then everything outside the screen it would project, right? It would project around you.
And then as you like if it's like a first person shooter and you turn,
it would
it actually makes the weather effects.
Oh, I would love that. Call of Duty.
And they still have a YouTube video, for it. Yeah. So when you get a chance, check that out. But
is it still in production?
No, I think they abandoned it a long time ago for the HoloLens. But it was
that would have worked so well for
incredibly
Call of
immersive.
Duty. Yeah,
incredibly immersive.
And I've been wanting to mention it. Turns out Sony was flirting with the idea of VR.
Were they?
But I forgot what it was called, but it just sounded like a whole bunch of a big mess.
Wait, I thought we were talking about, isn't that Project Morpheus?
Yeah, Morpheus.
Oh no, Project Morpheus is just like going really strong. Really?
Because they were criticizing in an article I was reading because at E3, I think they had like an actual like device that was going to go along with it. So if you're riding a horse in the game, Skyrim, but the dude was like on a bike.
Oh well, that's just stupid.
Paddling on a bike.
That's just a bad idea.
Determined how.
Yeah.
And that was in my gaming forum.
Okay.
Actually, so I was reading it and I'm just like.
That's just a bad idea. Yeah.
I didn't even like.
What issue was that? That was
the most recent one. The one that Doug was reading.
Okay. All right. That's if it was pre-E3 and it was the April issue.
No, it was it summarized the E3, and they said that's where Sony went wrong. And that's where they got a lesser of a grade than.
Oh, okay, but nobody knows about that. The mass consumer doesn't know about that.
Right.
It's still in the testing phase, but from what I've heard, right now the technology is really strong, and that it's comparable to the Oculus Rift. But it has the benefit of running off of PlayStation hardware with exclusive PlayStation games.
Right, and Oculus is more like But isn't it more like PC?
And Oculus is really a PC, it's a PC thing,
Right. And they don't have all that power of all those games.
Right, it's whoever decides to design around for the PC. But the thing is that Oculus is going to be a rich person's toy. It's going to be like a $1,500 piece of equipment. Like you need like that's including like the PC. Like you need if you want it. They said it's gonna be like $2,000 if you want the Oculus Rift and a PC that can utilize it, right? Because you're spending $1,000 on a PC, right?
Okay,
$1,200 on a PC and then $800 probably on Oculus Rift. Oculus Rift is definitely gonna cost at this point, when it first releases, around that of a next gen console.
Because I've seen videos of the Oculus Rift, like just people using it, like PewDiePie, he was using it.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't too impressed with the Oculus Rift. Like the graphics of the game.
There's nothing to show yet.
There's certain games I'm okay with the Oculus Rift. I watch a lot of Markiplier videos, and he does a lot of. I think horror games are working best for Oculus Rift right now. Yeah,
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
But they're all dev kit mock-ups where they are programming games that already exist, like Alien Isolation.
Yeah, that was
another
Oculus
games that
yeah.
aren't designed for the Oculus Rift. So wait until, hopefully, because I was hoping it was going to happen this E3, but it didn't. Wait until next E3 when hopefully all the companies that are invested in VR, Oculus, Sony with Project Morpheus, whomever else, will say, here are the games that are coming out for our VR technology.
There goes the next era of gaming.
Yeah, I think so. They seem to think that that's the case. They're putting all their eggs in that basket.
And they should.
Yeah.
Definitely should.
And it's exciting. I'm excited about it. And everybody I hear that has been sort of on a show floor demoing this stuff is really excited about it. They say every 6 months that goes by, the technology gets better. The screen is crisper. You know what I mean? There's more clarity. The definition is higher. The sound is better. The motion tracking is better. They don't make you sick. You know what I mean? Like a demo that made you sick 6 months ago doesn't make you sick now because they adjusted it. So they're perfecting it. The headset's lighter and more comfortable. I mean, they're going for it.
Wow.
Yeah. So it should be exciting.
Oh, sounds like it, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
A little bit. We didn't go into too much depth about it yet.
I mean, I've never played Dragon Quest.
Have you played Dragon Quest?
I haven't.
Let's move on. Yeah, I haven't played it either.
I never heard of it.
Oh,
until
really?
they announced it.
I mean, I've seen some Dragon Quest. I've seen like box art and other stuff. And it
Right,
looks
but
like
I never-
it takes heavy. If I'm thinking of the same game, it looks like the art style is the same as that of Dragon Ball.
It's the same guy.
It is.
It's the same. Yeah, it's the same illustrator from
Yeah,
Dragon Ball.
I figured.
And then before Square Enix was Square Enix, it was Squaresoft and Enix. And Enix series, really their only big series was Dragon Quest.
Okay.
And they were the only competitor really in Japan to Final Fantasy. So you had the crowd that loved Final Fantasy and you had the crowd that loved Dragon Quest. And a lot of them liked both. And then eventually Squaresoft merged with Enix and created Square Enix. And they essentially acquired Dragon Quest. And that's about it. But they felt it was worth it just for Dragon Quest because it was such a huge RPG series. Yeah.
I mean, the way that the article made it seem it made it seem like it was a really big.
Yeah,
announcement.
I would say it's a cult classic RPG series that's much more popular mainstream in Japan. So, yeah.
And speaking of Final Fantasy, they already announced they're going to make a remake for 12.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Or no, they didn't.
They're
It's
considering
remaster.
A remaster.
Yeah, but then it said ... remake.
They're considering it.
Yeah, I think it's trying to get people hyped up now that there's sort of this train that's just off the station of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what are the most popular? It's too bad that
I think it's
here.
more fan service than anything.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it makes sense.
And I've noticed that lately it's been a trend for the developers to come out and do remakes.
Remasters, remakes. It has been a trend for a little while.
Like Gears of War came out with a remake or a remastered version for
the whole remake
Xbox.
remaster has been a trend for a little while.
Halo did it. What other games?
Resident
Evil did it, yeah.
I mean, so let's do this.
Oh, even Legend of Zelda had a remaster with their Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. So let's do this. Since all these games are coming out with remastered, can you guys off the top of your head think of a game that they haven't remastered that they should?
Oh man, see, I don't even know if I want to answer that question.
Or at least that you think would
Okay,
do well on the market.
Here's the thing. If I can just say first, the reason why they're remaking or remastering a lot of these games is because they don't have anything new to offer us. They think they do. A lot of
It's
people.
essentially filler for us while they're.
A lot of
figuring
it.
out.
First, I think it starts with this. I think it starts with this horrible trend where, and this is not a horrible trend when you're talking about monetary gain, but it is when you're talking about creativity. It's a horrible trend where, say, a brilliant game designer like Cliffy B, who made Gears of War, right, makes a couple of Gears of War games and then goes, I don't want to make Gears of War for the rest of my life. I'm done. I want to do something new.
Right.
And then what happens with the publisher for that company? What happens with Microsoft? They go, we'll never, you know what I mean, let go of Gears of War. Who cares what you want to do next? We want to perpetuate Gears of War.
And you
it says
can
support
tell that
you.
with Gears of War 3.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
And they just, and the trend continues.
Judgment Day was.
And when you lose the guy who has the real creativity to do that, when you lose that person, when you lose a Cliffy B, when you lose a Kojima, when you lose a Inafune, right, when you lose these kind of guys, and then try to replace them with some pretender, and that's not always the case. God of War, David Jaffe made God of War, it was a masterpiece,
It was.
and then God of War 2 was even better.
And God of War 3.
And God of War 3 was fantastic, and David Jaffe left after the first
You
one.
know, and it's rare that you find games that can actually continue to top their,
Yeah,
predecessors.
and it's even rarer where they've been handed off. Because
Yeah.
David Jaffe only did the first game.
Well, then the guy he handed off to, wasn't he part of the first one?
Yeah,
So he kind of knew what it was about.
yeah, but that doesn't always
It
work.
doesn't work, no.
It doesn't always work. Even
The guy you hand it off to could know everything about the game and still
And go in a different
drop
direction.
the ball.
who did Splinter Cell? Matthew Furland or something like that? I don't remember who the original creator was.
I don't
But
know.
once he left after Chaos Theory, I think.
Mhm.
Or he left after maybe Double Agent. And then it got
Double
weird.
Agent.
And then it got
That's when
yeah.
I left the series.
And then it got Jason Bourne weird.
Yeah.
He's wearing like a knit sweater and a backpack. I was like, what are you doing, Sam Fisher?
Right. And it went from just being just the agent
Yeah.
one.
And the storyline's getting insulting. They're bringing people back to life that whose death was
It became more
pivotal.
cinematic.
Yeah, it became and it was not very good. So the thing is that what were we talking about?
No, because since we're
Remakes,
talking about
yeah.
these remakes, what
I'm going
you
on a
guys think?
tangent. That's right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's like so that's what they're doing. They have to do remakes because they
Something that we think maybe remake. I mean,
well Resident Evil's got a remake.
yeah.
Okay. Mortal Kombat's got a remake. And you're thinking of everybody would say Final Fantasy.
Right. So those would be three games that
Yeah.
they made the right decision
Final Fantasy
to
is
do
on
it.
its way out with a remake.
Because we could
Yeah.
we could probably have a list of equal games.
See, I don't know. 'Cause I feel like
horrible.
I feel like if a game was awesome, let it be. But then they've taken some of the greatest games of all time and remade them into terrible.
Right.
Like GoldenEye.
Oh.
Boy, did they ruin that. And luckily, the original 64 GoldenEye is so strong that a lot of people don't even know they made it.
Right.
For the what was it? For the Wii or the Wii U or something like that.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head right now that I want to see remastered.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily have this.
I got it. I'll wait till you're done.
I don't necessarily have this thing where I'm sitting at home. I want this thing to be remastered. Yeah, I mean, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't really bother me. Because I'm always looking forward to the future of gaming rather than revisiting something from the past, which is not a bad thing. Revisiting something.
As long as it's a game that is worth playing.
Yeah,
through.
as long as it's something that's worth.
But you don't need a Tony Hawk 5. What is it? What's coming out? 7.
Yeah.
8.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. So
Tony
yeah, I don't find myself being compelled to want remaster remakes. If it happens, cool.
I'm in that camp. If they had to, okay. All right, I got one. Morrowind. I think that's the most popular game in the Elder Scrolls series.
Is it? Okay.
So popular that they're trying to remake it through mods.
Because that was right before Oblivion, right? That was the
Yes,
one before Oblivion.
yeah, it was the third game. Yeah. So Morrowind, but that's a game that's so popular they're already remaking it.
Well, Elder Scrolls Online is based a lot on Morrowind.
Yeah, because it covers every sort of region in town.
Right. It's the whole region of Tamriel.
Or the original Witcher, the very first one, because that was a PC only game.
I never got to play that.
Yeah, it looks dated, and The Witcher relies very heavily on the lore of The Witcher. So short of going back and reading 6 novels, you know what I mean? Have the game. Or the original Deus Ex.
Ooh, I didn't even think of that.
Would be a good remake, I feel like.
Yeah, and there's some games that I feel like didn't need a remaster, like what was it? The whole Devil May Cry franchise had a remaster. They came out with this whole
that
remastered
was
collection
just Capcom digging.
Trying to make more money out
Yeah,
there. They should have stayed where it was.
I'm surprised they didn't reach up and grab out Onimusha. You know, I mean, like, what
Yeah,
stuff you need to
Devil May
remake?
Cry got one. And we were talking about Resident Evil 2. That would be nice for a remaster, but there are some games in the Resident Evil franchise that don't need, like, do we want to see a Resident Evil 4 remaster?
No, that game is perfect.
It is.
The way it is.
And then, did they, what was it, Raccoon City or something?
Raccoon City.
I heard that
What,
was
Operation
it.
Raccoon
Oh,
City?
that was a disaster.
Let's
Yeah.
not talk about that.
That was a disaster.
That game, not only was it was too short, too.
It was
That- I mean,
rushed.
it was rushed. The thing is, that game was so short, me and a buddy played it in one night. It was only 12 hours. It was done.
It was made by the guys who make SOCOM, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Nobody remembers.
Operation Raccoon City, I feel like it was just a BS filler for us while they came out with whatever.
Well, because, you know, it comes down to that, you know, the thing we talked about, how some companies like to come out, like Final Fantasy, like they like to come out with a game every so often, every timetable, and I feel like in Resident Evil, they didn't have anything for that time frame, so that's why they came out with
Yeah,
Operation
I mean,
Raccoon City.
if they talk about a Resident Evil 2 remake, what's next? Remaster or remake of Code Veronica and, you know, all that. I mean,
Probably. Yes.
Yeah.
There's an answer. Yes.
so there are some games that really don't need it.
Right.
But yeah, I don't find myself
See,
wanting
I have
to
a
do
game.
that.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
When they announced that, you know, they were going to make new Star Wars games, I was excited. I was happy for this specific game. I think you know where I'm going with this. Then they announced Battlefront. I was disappointed.
I'm actually excited.
I like it, but I never got into Battlefront. The whole Star Wars universe, I've never been into
Okay.
the shooting, and
Okay.
I've always loved the Jedi.
Yeah.
So why not?
I'm a Sith Lord, man, I guess.
Why not bring that to the Old Republic back? That game was so successful for its
That I
time.
can see coming back, and it would work, especially with episode 7 coming
Right.
out. It would be
And it would still be relevant to today.
That game seems like it's. I feel like I haven't played it in a long time. I feel like it might still be really strong.
They just announced
Yeah.
for the PC version,
Yeah.
they released a remastered version for Knights of the Republic 2 for PC. After all these years.
KOTOR 2?
Yeah. And I saw the article and I'm like, wait, well no, I didn't see the whole title. I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, Xbox? And I clicked on it and it's like, oh no, just for Steam, for PC.
Okay.
And that's when I came with my light bulb just went off.
Yeah.
I'm like, why don't they come out with something like that for the Xbox?
I think KOTOR is one of the greatest games ever made.
Yeah.
And I think that what they've done is they've sort of shifted the focus to their online one, which is Knights of the Republic.
Right.
There's no other.
And it based
Yeah.
off of, and it works off of the lore from 1 and 2.
Right, from 1 and 2.
Because
Yeah.
Revan,
And it looks very similar too.
because the main bad guy
Yeah.
online is Revan.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Which was in number 1.
Yeah.
Turns out you were Revan the whole time.
Oh, big spoiler alert.
I was blown away by it. I'm like, that's good now.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not as excited because I haven't played. When was the last time you played KOTOR for the Xbox? Years ago. I feel like I could go back and play that game as it is.
Yeah.
If it's a game I can go back and play as it is, I don't need a remake.
At least
Kind
not a
of like
remake. At least
Resident Evil 4,
just
you can go
like,
back
I can go back and play Resident Evil. But if they did, I could see that. I could even see a KOTOR 3
yeah.
being
Not
fantastic.
even reboot it.
Yeah.
Just because of Battlefront's there.
Yeah.
And let's admit it, all of us Star Wars, fans, all of us Star Wars geeks, we love the Jedi. We
Okay.
love, and in Battlefront, I mean, they announced that you get to play as a Jedi, but it's only like rarely ever so
Yeah,
often
they probably
in the game.
reward. It's probably a reward perk.
Right.
That's typically what they do. in
Because I saw
Battlefront.
someone playing as Luke Skywalker
Yeah.
in the game. I'm like, oh, yes.
It's typically some sort of reward perk on Call of Duty style. Yeah, I'm all for remakes if it's from a really great game and they do it properly. It just I think that the trend is if the original publisher does a remake, it's good.
Right.
If they send it out to some other
It was
developer, it turns out to be
because there were rumors when after Disney bought Star Wars,
yeah.
and they were talking about, oh, they're going to make a game, and everyone was making speculations. Oh, Battlefront. Oh, Knights of the Old Republic. But then right away Disney went and shut down Knights of the Old Republic, and I guess they chose Battlefront just because it's more Call of Duty-ish, and Call of Duty is more of a thing now.
Okay.
So I guess they wanted to reach to a bigger crowd, which I can see.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I hope.
The new Battlefront looks awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not saying I'm not
Sure,
going to buy it.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
amazing.
I pre-ordered the deluxe edition.
Oh, did you?
Oh, look at you.
Yeah. I pre-ordered that. Yeah. Pre-ordered.
Because I was so disappointed, and I'm going to keep on ranting about Star Wars games. I was so disappointed with the Star Wars game they made for Star Wars 3.
So,
Based off the
based
movie.
on the movie. Yeah, of course, those movie ones are
I
always
was
terrible.
so
Oh, you're talking about Star Wars Episode 3? That
Yeah.
game?
The
Oh,
end
that game was
Always
trash.
terrible.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
good Star Wars games are like the original. There was like an Atari 2600 one. I think there were some good arcade ones. Then there was the trilogy on the Super Nintendo was good. The one that launched really close after the 64. Shadows, I can't remember. I don't know if it was Shadows of the Empire or something like that. Was really good. Rogue Squadron was amazing when that came out. And then there was the whole Outcast series. Jedi Academy, Jedi Outcast, Jedi Academy. There was like 3 of them. They were awesome.
I wouldn't mind that.
How do you guys feel about the Force Unleashed?
I actually liked it.
I was not a fan.
Just because I liked it, just because of the simple fact that right before that game it was Episode 3, and the Force Unleashed was an original storyline.
Yeah.
And it filled the gap between Episode 3 and Episode 4.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. Okay.
And supposedly it was an actual script that they used that George Lucas had in his closet that he wanted to do like a spin-off movie.
To just fill in those gaps.
To fill in
Was
the
the
gaps.
guy in there named Starkiller?
He was.
Yeah.
He
was the guy that was in
supposed to be
Starkiller.
the original name. Scott, right?
Really?
Yeah, it's supposed to be Scott Starkiller.
So it explained how Starkiller was. Spoiler alert. Starkiller was found by Darth Vader.
He's Revan.
And he took Starkiller and found out that Starkiller was super powerful.
Right.
And he essentially made Starkiller into his apprentice that the Emperor had no idea existed.
Oh, yeah, it was a secret apprentice.
And he would send him out into little missions and stuff. But when Starkiller got old enough, he told Starkiller, I want you to go undercover to the rebel lines and kind of pretend that, I betrayed you and you're going to go and help them. And then in the process of doing that, Starkiller starts to doubt his allegiance to Darth Vader.
Okay.
And starts helping the rebel lines, whatever the case is. Then he dies at the end, and then for some reason he's alive again in Star Wars Unleashed 2. Turns out that he had like 1 million clones. That's when they lost me a little bit.
Okay.
But it turns out he had like 1 million clones of himself.
Yeah,
he doesn't know if he's the real Starkiller or
It starts to get convoluted.
But it was the same thing. Like it was original.
Okay.
And that's what I feel like Star Wars needs. Original.
Original ideas when they come. Like KOTOR was original. Yeah. Yeah, that was something.
I was watching the Twitch on the other day, and the graphics were kind of backdated. I just sat there and watched it for like 3 hours.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to.
I remember this.
Download another copy of that game.
That game was awesome.
So our final topic, Mighty Number 9 delayed to 2016.
Yeah, so we kind of knew that, right?
Right, but it was
speculated, and now it's confirmed. So my thoughts are the same. I mean,
Do you think it's gonna hurt them all?
Well,
they're still waiting on Red Ash too.
yeah, I mean, well, this is.
And before you say your, I just remember reading it this morning. Well, I don't know when to pick you up. They announced that the Kickstarter for Red Ash wasn't nearly as successful as Mighty Number 9.
Yeah, I actually wrote another article on a Facebook page about Red Ash. They had released a playable demo, and everyone's just saying it was glitchy and just simply put unplayable.
I'll tell you what, man. Release your game. Release Mighty Number 9, and then within Mighty Number 9, put in like a Kickstarter notice for Red Ash.
Yeah.
And now you've actually delivered on a product through Kickstarter, and if people love it, they're gonna be like, of course we want to support this guy in doing another one.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna do it this way, where you're trying to start another Kickstarter at almost the same week that you're delaying the game everybody already gave you money for until the next year, what do you expect? So whether it hurts Mighty Number 9 or not, it's hurting Red Ash.
Yeah,
That's
right.
and hurting the studio as a whole.
And I saw pictures of Red Ash, and I was actually more excited about Red Ash than
Red Ash had this look to it that I was drawn to. I could play
it. It was more like open world RPG, and it was supposed to be a spin-off of Mega Man Legends. So it was supposed to be more like. So supposedly they
I love Mega Man Legends. Yeah.
And supposedly it was going to be the guy.
Yeah.
He said that especially Red Ash was the game he wanted to develop in Mega Man Legends, and he wasn't able to because Sega was kind of holding him back.
Even Capcom.
Capcom.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sega doesn't hold anyone back.
but just holding it back, saying, you know what, let's do what the fans are used to. Don't do anything out of the box.
Okay.
Well, from what I had wrote, it was a. I guess they were saying it was a successful Kickstarter campaign, bringing in like a massive $3.8 million, and that it was. He kept pushing that it will be released September. It will be released September. And now you're pushing
now
it back.
The money, it's like, oh, you're gonna have to.
Yeah. It's a little suspicious, right? In real life, you loan somebody a bunch of money. And it's like, I'll pay you back.
And my thing is, you're hurting Red Ash even more, not just the whole Mighty Number 9 thing, but releasing a glitchy, bad demo.
That's not good either.
I mean, you're essentially slapping everyone in the face with the
Show
money
me
that
it was a playable demo, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Well, but they said it was barely playable.
Don't make it playable at all then. If it's barely playable, don't make it playable.
At least just release a video of the gameplay.
Exactly. You should be more careful with this.
I feel like he got desperate because I think his what he was trying to reach in terms of the Kickstarter for Red Ash was supposed to be close to 1 million initially, and it hasn't even reached 800,000.
Yeah, and see what I had also talked about in the article I had written was not only is are you going to lose the trust of people who invested the money they're working for, it looks really bad, and I really, really hope they release it and that it blows everybody away, because not only will, what's the gentleman's name
who does the game? KG?
Yeah, not only will he get satisfaction, but the people who invested their money get satisfaction out of it. I helped with that. I invested in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it didn't fail to deliver. But if he continues down this route where I'm gonna release a really crappy demo, I'm gonna push the game back further.
Well, I don't want to condemn the man yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, but you can see there are some.
I hope maybe they release another demo and
It looks
just at least acknowledge, hey, the first one, we understand, but we know the game industry doesn't like to acknowledge their shortcomings.
So, you said this was going to be the last topic, but there was something you mentioned that I said last week.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we were talking about Duke Nukem and how, he's based obviously on iconic 80s action stars, Schwarzenegger, Dolph Lundgren, right? And I believe I said, you would be surprised how many video game characters are based on real people. People that you've heard of, people that you haven't heard of.
Right, so how about this, Sebastian? We'll finish up the podcast now,
okay?
And then we'll make another video just about the iconic video game characters.
Sounds good.
Alright, so viewers, thank you for joining us for this awesome podcast. I will put a link in the description for this other video that we're about to record about iconic video game characters, because I think it's going to be an interesting talk.
It gets all sorts of weird.
So guys, continue doing what you're doing. Let us know what you think. Like, subscribe, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and we hope to grow and we hope to improve on what we're doing. And I'm really happy about the quick bit. That was awesome. So continue letting us know what you guys think.
Next week, Gamescom news. Gamescom this week, biggest gaming convention in the world. In Germany, tune in next week and we'll have all the big news that's going to come out of
it. Oh, yeah, definitely there's a lot to talk about.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully not in another 2 hours.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Alright, so like I said, tune in for our next video that I'm going to put in the link for iconic video game characters. So this for the podcast. Thank you for joining us. This is Paulo Chindocha.
Kevin Jeffers.
Sebastian G.
Game on.